Hello, people of grace. For our Pastoral Connect this week, I want to talk about change, just focusing on these two verses from Ecclesiastes 11:10 and 12:1. Solomon says, remove vexation from your heart. Remove that anxiety, that vexation, that fire that has gone awry and is now unhealthy from your heart. Put away pain, evil, decay, the curse from your body. Not that you can put it away from your body. It's going to happen, but it doesn't have to rule your life. Stop yearning for youth in the dawn of life, which is so fleeting and is vanity, he says in chapter 11, verse 10. Then in chapter 12, verse 1, the very next verse, Solomon says, remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days, the cursed days, the painful days come, in which you will struggle to find any pleasure under the sun. There's some really powerful principles there about change, and I just want to run through four today. Number one, we need to be embracing change and working at change early in the stream of our life, not when the trajectory of our life and the things that are just really kind of embodied in us as deep habits are so fixed. Change is never impossible, but the earlier we learn to embrace change and get good at change, the better. Because change is a lifelong process that, left to itself, gets harder as you age. So we need to get good at it when we're young and keep getting better at it, because change, though a lot of change is for the worse, especially when we look at the observable realm and even our own bodies, which Ecclesiastes 12 is going to get into in these upcoming verses of how our bodies are breaking down. The point is not really whether the change is worse or better. It's us focusing on getting good at this thing called change. Because though change can be for the worse, when it's for the better, that is a gift of grace to us. That positive change is something that God is always involved in. When we look at it at the more kind of spiritual, theological level, the deepest change that needs to happen to us as beings, as souls, is what the Bible might call repentance, and does call repentance. And in 2 Timothy 2, Paul says to Timothy that Timothy needs to conduct himself in a way where he can be a means of God's grace that God uses so that God can grant repentance. Which means, however you figure that out theologically, repentance, positive change, is God's gift to us, not our gift to Him. So as we learn to embrace and accept change, even bad change, we can have our eyes opened and our ears able to hear and embrace good change in our souls. And that's a gift of grace. Because, final point, let me run through the first three. Change early in the stream, because change is a lifelong process that, if left to itself, change gets harder as we age. So we need to get better at it as early as possible. Positive change is a gift of grace to us. It's God's gift to us, not our gift to Him. But then there's this fourth point. People resist and struggle with change. But I don't really think people fear change in and of itself, because we all want certain changes, as much as we fear a loss of control that change brings. We show up in this thing called life and freak out about stuff, but humanity has been blundering along for millennia, and if the Lord tarries, humanity will be blundering along for millennia after we're gone, because God is working with the human race, but then we show up and feel like certain things have to happen. It's really pretty arrogant. And when we bring that mentality and we don't get good at positive change and not needing to control everything, as our bodies fail, we'll become bitter. We will resent and just become more and more difficult to work with and find no pleasure in anything. And God actually wants us to enjoy this house of our sojourning that's called planet Earth. So embrace change, because even though a lot of things change for the worse, including our bodies, even while that's changing worse, we can change for the better by God's grace. And that's an encouraging thought. Have a blessed day.